Most people would take one look at this stool and put it straight in a skip. The joints are loose, the seat is wobbling, and there's a crack running clean through one of the legs. But everything you're about to see put right cost less than the price of a coffee. No new furniture, no expensive tools, just one small pot of glue, a bit of patience, and about 90 minutes of honest work. By the end of this video, this stool will be stronger than the day it was made. And I'm going to show you exactly how, step by step. So you can do the same with anything wobbling around in your own home. Most people would take one look at this stool and put it straight in a skip. The joints are loose, the seat wobbles if you so much as lean on it, and there's a hairline crack running through one of the legs. But everything you're about to watch me fix cost less than the price of a coffee. No new furniture, no expensive tools, just one small pot of wood glue, a bit of patience, and about 90 minutes of honest work. By the time we're done, this stool is going to be stronger than the day it left the workshop. And I'm going to walk you through every single step. So if you've got something similar tucked away in a shed, a garage, or gathering dust in the spare room, you'll know exactly what to do with it. This particular stool has been knocking about for a good few decades. You can tell by the joinery, proper mortise and tenon work, the kind you don't see much in flat pack furniture anymore. Somebody made this by hand, and that's exactly why it deserves a second chance rather than a trip to the tip. Here's the thing that always gets me. A stool like this one probably cost more in real terms back when it was made than a brand new equivalent would cost today. Solid timber, hand-cut joints, proper craftsmanship. And yet, the second it starts wobbling, most people assume it's finished. It isn't. 95% of the time, what looks like a dead piece of furniture is actually just a joint that's dried out and a finish that's worn through. Wood doesn't fail catastrophically very often. It loosens gradually, over years of use. As the glue inside the joints ages and the wood itself expands and contracts with the seasons. That's not a design flaw. That's just what timber does. It's a living material, even after it's been cut and shaped, and it keeps responding to moisture and temperature for the rest of its life. The reason people replace rather than repair usually comes down to one thing. They don't know it's possible. Furniture restoration has this reputation for being a specialist trade, something you need a workshop full of clamps and a lifetime of training to attempt. And yes, some jobs genuinely do need a professional. But a wobbly stool with a cracked leg? That's well within reach of anyone with a free afternoon and the right approach. Restoration also keeps a piece of history in the room. The stool has a story. The wear patterns on the seat, the slight curve worn into the front rail from decades of feet resting on it. You lose all of that the moment you send it to landfill and replace it with something built last month in a factory. There's also the simple maths of it. A new solid wood stool of this quality would set you back A60 to O150. We're going to do this one for under £2. Before any repair work begins, you need to know exactly what you're dealing with. Rushing straight into gluing and sanding without a proper inspection is one of the most common mistakes people make, and it usually means missing a problem that comes back to bite you later. So let's go over this stool properly, the same way I'd assess any piece of furniture that comes into the workshop. First, the wobble. Grab the seat and gently rock it side to side, then front to back. This stool moves noticeably in both directions, which tells me straight away that we're not looking at one loose joint. We're likely looking at several. That's actually good news in a strange way because it means the fix is straightforward. Reglue the joints and the wobble disappears. Next, look closely at where the legs meet the seat and where the stretchers, those horizontal bars running between the legs, meet the legs themselves. You're looking for small gaps, a slight grayish residue where old glue has crystallized and failed, or visible movement when you press on the joint. On this stool, I can see a clear gap at the front left leg joint, and there's a faint clicking sound when weight shifts onto it. That's the sound of two surfaces that should be bonded together but aren't anymore. Now the crack. Running down the back right leg, there's a hairline split about 4 inches long. This is really common in solid timber legs, especially if the stool has ever been kept somewhere with big swings in humidity, near a radiator, in a conservatory, or in an old house without central heating. Wood shrinks as it dries out and swells as it takes on moisture, and if that happens unevenly, the wood fibers can separate along the grain. The good news is that a crack like this, provided the leg isn't actually broken in two, is very repairable. Cracks running with the grain like this one are generally the easiest type of damage to fix because the wood itself is still structurally continuous. Moving on, the finish. The original varnish has worn through almost entirely on the seat, leaving bare, graying timber in the center where feet or hands have rested most often over the years. Around the edges, there are patches of what's left of the old finish, cracked and yellowed. This is purely cosmetic, but it's worth noting now because it affects how much stripping and sanding we'll need to do later. There's also some light water, staining on one corner of the seat, or a dark ring or a plant pot or a wet glass sat for too long at some point in its life. Water staining sits in the top layer of the wood fibers and, in most cases, sands out without much drama. Finally, I always check for rot, even though it's less common on indoor furniture like this. Press a fingernail or a small screwdriver into any area that looks dark, soft, or spongy. If it gives way easily or feels damp and crumbly, that's decay, and it needs to be cut out and replaced rather than simply sanded and glued. On this stool, everything is solid, no soft spots anywhere. That's one less job for us today. So, to summarize the damage, loose joints at multiple points, one hairline crack in a leg, a worn-through finish, and a water stain. No missing wood, no rot, no broken legs in the true sense. That puts this firmly in the category of a weekend afternoon restoration, not a major rebuild. Before we get into the process, here's everything used in this restoration and roughly what it costs. For the repairs, PVA wood glue, Aworo. The Avo 2 solution I mentioned at the start, Aworos. The set of clamps, or if you don't have clamps, some strong elastic bands or old bicycle inner tubes cut into strips. A syringe or a thin piece of card for working glue into tight gaps, and a small amount of wood filler for any minor surface gaps once the structural repairs are done. For finishing, wood stain in a shade to match the existing timber in either Danish oil, wax, or a wipe-on varnish, depending on how the piece will be used. Safety-wise, a dust mask for sanding, and eye protection if you're using any power tools. Nothing on this list is expensive, and nothing here requires specialist training. That's rather the point of this whole project. Proper restoration doesn't need a fully kitted out workshop. Every restoration should start with a proper clean, because dirt and grime hide the true condition of the wood underneath. Using warm water with a small amount of washing up liquid, go over the entire stool with a soft cloth, paying particular attention to the joints, the underside of the seat, and any carved or turned details where dust tends to gather. Don't soak the wood. A damp cloth is enough. You're not trying to scrub through decades of grime in one pass. Just lift the surface dirt so you can see what you're actually working with. Let it dry fully before moving on, ideally for a couple of hours in a warm room. Cleaning does two things. It reveals the true color and condition of the timber, and it removes surface contaminants that would otherwise stop glue and finish from bonding properly later on. With the stool clean and dry, it's time to deal with what's left of the original varnish. Because the finish here is already patchy and worn, a full chemical strip isn't necessary. We can sand it back instead, which is simpler, cheaper, and doesn't involve any strong-smelling strippers in the workshop. Starting with 80 grit sandpaper, work in the direction of the grain across the seat and legs. Sanding against the grain, even briefly, leaves scratches that are very difficult to remove later, and will show up clearly once stain is applied. Take your time here. The goal isn't to remove wood while we're starting. It's to remove the old finish and get down to clean, bare timber. On turned sections, like rounded legs, a strip of sandpaper wrapped around the leg and worked back and forth like a shoe shine cloth gets into the curves far more effectively than a flat sanding block ever could. This is also the point where that water stain on the corner of the seat will start to lift. Keep working that area a touch longer than the rest, until the discoloration fades. It won't disappear completely under 80 grit alone, but it will lighten significantly, and the following sanding stages will finish the job. Once the old finish is off and you're working with bare wood, move up through the grits, 80, then 120, then 220. Each stage removes the scratches left by the previous one, and skipping a stage is one of the most common mistakes in furniture restoration. Jump straight from 80 grit to 220 grit, and you'll still see the deeper scratch marks once stain is applied, because stain soaks into scratches more heavily than into smooth wood and makes them stand out rather than disappear. Sand with the grain at every stage and wipe away dust with a slightly damp cloth between grits so you can actually see your progress rather than sanding through a layer of dust. By the time you finish at 220 grit, the wood should feel genuinely smooth to the touch, almost silky with no rough patches or visible scratch lines. Run your hand across it with your eyes closed. You'll feel any remaining rough spots far more easily than you'll see them. Now to the structural work, starting with that hairline crack in the leg. Because the crack runs with the grain and the leg hasn't split apart, this is a straightforward glue repair rather than a rebuild. Gently work the crack open, just slightly, using a thin piece of card or a palette knife. You're not trying to prise it wide open, just enough to get glue into the full depth of the split. Apply PVA wood glue directly into the crack, working it in with the card so it reaches as far down as possible rather than just sitting on the surface. Once the glue is worked in, clamp the leg to close the crack fully. If you don't have a proper clamp, wrapping the leg tightly with an elastic strip, like a cut section of an old bicycle inner tube, works remarkably well and applies even pressure all the way around. Wipe away any glue that squeezes out immediately with a damp cloth, because dried glue on the surface will block stain from soaking in evenly later. Leave this clamped for a minimum of 30 minutes, though a full hour gives a stronger bond. PVA glue reaches most of its strength within the first hour, but continues curing fully over the following 24 hours, so avoid putting heavy weight on this leg until the next day if you can help it. This is really the heart of the whole repair, because the wobble is what makes this stool feel broken, even though the timber itself is perfectly sound. Start with the front left joint we identified earlier, a suelo, the one with the visible gap and the clicking sound. Gently work the joint apart as far as it will safely go without forcing it. Since old joints can be more fragile than they look, you don't need to fully disassemble the stool, just enough separation to clean out the old, failed glue and get fresh glue into the joint. Using fine wire wool or a small brush, clear out any crumbling old glue residue from inside the joint. This step matters more than people expect. Awar. Fresh glue applied on top of old, failed glue won't bond properly, because it's sticking to a weak, crumbly surface rather than to solid wood. Apply fresh PVA glue generously into the joint, working it around with a thin brush or a piece of card so it coats the full contact surface rather than just one spot. Push the joint back together firmly, clamp it or strap it tightly using your elastic bands or inner tube strips, running the strapping diagonally across the stool so it pulls all four legs evenly inward and keeps the whole frame square while it dries. Repeat this process for every joint that showed movement during your inspection. It's tempting to only fix the worst one, but a stool with several aging joints will usually have more looseness developing in the others too, even if it's not obvious yet. Fixing them all in one session saves you doing this again in 6 months. Once everything is glued and strapped, stand back and check the stool is sitting square. All four legs flat on the floor, no twist in the frame. If it's slightly out of square, you can usually correct it gently before the glue sets by adjusting the strapping tension on one side. Once you're happy, leave it undisturbed for at least an hour, ideally overnight, on a flat, level surface. With the structural repairs done and fully cured, take a look at the surface for any small remaining gaps, old screw holes, or minor surface imperfections that sanding alone won't fix. A small amount of wood filler, applied with a flexible filling knife and pressed firmly into the gap, sorts this out. Overfill very slightly, because filler shrinks a touch as it dries, and once it's fully cured, sand it flush with 220 grit paper. A quick note on filler versus epoxy, since this comes up a lot. Wood filler is fine for small cosmetic gaps and minor surface imperfections. Epoxy resin is the better choice when you're dealing with actual missing wood, a structural gap, or an area that needs to bear real weight, because epoxy cures much harder and can be shaped and sanded almost like the surrounding timber. For this stool, with no missing wood and only minor gaps, standard wood filler is the right tool for the job.